Good morning. Good morning. It is Guy Kawasaki. I am in Watsonville, California, home of the best Mexican food in California. And I'm joined by Jeff C. in Texas, Don't Mask with Texas, and Peg Fitzpatrick, home
Some
of the
of us were
free, New
home of the
Hampshire.
free, live free or die.
Live
Whoa.
Home of
free
the
or
free is our
die,
whole country. We are live free or die.
tax free
Wow.
or die.
Love that. I love
So
tax free.
that's part, yeah. So this morning's guest is none other than the Julia Cameron. She is
Mhm.
making a return appearance. She has a new book out. And this book is primarily concerned with, of course, creativity because she is the queen of creativity. Is that the right term, Peg?
Queen of Change was the New York
Okay.
Times, but she's also known as the Queen of. She just there's it's hard to even label how great she is because what she teaches people is amazing. So many people want to know how to write and not to be stressed out about writing, and she is in her 70s maybe, and she is like, since we've talked to her the first time, she's written two more books. So
Yeah.
come on.
Yep.
She knows
Yep.
what she's talking about. She
Yep.
knows what she's talking about.
And
Where's
uh,
her secret?
wait, I forgot. Oh my God. So it's about creativity and prayer.
Hmm.
Yes.
The two are kind of connected in her book. And
Mhm.
so, if you're a Julia Cameron fan, you read The Artist's Way, you definitely need to listen to this episode of the podcast because
Mhm.
And there's not
she's
many
the woman.
there's not many people we've had on twice. So this is like the
Uh,
select kind
well,
of
we've had three:
Cialdini.
Jane Goodall, Bob Cialdini, and
Julia. Yeah.
Julia Cameron. Now, you
That's
could make the case we had Katie Milkman on twice because she was on the psychology of vaccination, where I had six people on it, and she had her own episode. But I mean, Cialdini, Cameron, and Goodall, how can you beat that, man?
yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
she's in a small group, so but it's
Yeah.
really, really good. So make sure if you haven't listened to it yet, make sure you guys go to remarkablepeople.com. And also, we would love for you guys to join the community, and you can find that at this URL right here, bit.ly/remarkable people circle. Make sure you capitalize remarkable people circle. That way it'll work. But bit.ly/remarkable people circle to join our community. And let's see that we have some questions. We got some that we would love for the audience to chime in as well because I think it's really interesting. Let's see, this first one, the icebreaker is: when you think of creativity, what person comes to mind?
Mm.
Like,
Julia Cameron.
that would be one. But in
I
the
know who
audience,
Jeff is going to say.
when we say creativity, who do you think of? And I've been doing a lot of research lately, and of course, it's for me, it's Walt Disney. I think how creative he is,
Oh.
and the storytelling and all the stuff and
Huh?
what he built. So, who do you think of,
Uh,
Peg?
I love that Disney is his handwriting. Like that always every time I see the Disney logo and it's his
You know,
handwriting,
it's
his
not
illustration.
though.
Oh, they faked it.
It faked it. It's not his thing, and so it's been a big thing when people say, "Hey, look, I've got this memorabilia. I'm selling it on eBay, and it looks like the font. It's not. They faked it.
Or you burst my bubble. But
I'm sorry."
he is a creative genius.
Yeah.
Who do I think of overall for creativity? That's really hard. I think of um, a lot of like children's book illustrators. I love children's books, and Eric Carle is someone who I love. I love his that he created the paper and like did the paper cutouts, and it was like a whole kind of new way to do children's books. And the Eric Carle Museum is not that far from here, and it's so fun to go there to see that. So there's so
is
many.
he is he
Pardon
still
me.
alive?
He just passed away.
Oh,
But his book, The Hungry Caterpillar, there's a little thing out
yeah.
front. It sells like 30 copies a minute or something like that. It's like one of the
Uh,
most read books in the world. I'm like, and it always like that's just so cool, that somebody can touch people that way. So I love Julia Cameron's message as well. But just to go a little bit out of our box of what we usually talk about, there's a lot of really great children's book writers and illustrators that are
Mm-hmm.
that
hmm
touch people.
What about you, Guy? Other than Julia Cameron, do you have somebody you think of when you say creativity?
I would say Elizabeth Holmes. Man, the creativity she had in shareholder reports is just amazing. So I am just appalled by that whole situation. I mean, not that
Yeah,
she got convicted. I mean, that she did it.
Did
that
you
she
watch
did
the
it.
documentary that they had about her on HBO?
No.
It
I
was
haven't
really
watched
good.
that.
It was
I
really
need to
Oh
good.
watch
yeah.
that. But also, I'm interested to see what the partner's trial is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
And is it
Did
gonna,
you?
I
Okay.
feel like a lot of it's because she was a woman and Silicon Valley. So like, it's so hard to get funding as a woman. It's really sucks that this happened because it's already so hard for women to get funding and be successful in Silicon Valley. Now she's the going to be the example, and that's sucks.
So back to
Well,
creativity. Her lawyers were creative.
You don't think so, Guy? You agree with that?
Yeah.
but all the dumbass men fell for it. Look at
True.
her board of directors, like Mattis, right? James Mattis is on the board of that. Like you would think someone who ran the military would do due diligence, you know? Oh my
Yeah.
lord. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So
so I have
A
another
good
creative
teacher that
person,
usually is.
and maybe somebody out there knows him, can connect us, because I would just love to have him on this podcast. And it is Jordan Klepper. Oh my God, that guy is funny. So
Who is that?
the guy who does he's on Trevor Noah show, and he does these interviews where he goes around the country and he interviews people about vaccination and January 6th.
No,
And Jordan Klepper, you never heard of Jordan Klepper?
no, I don't watch.
Jeez.
I don't watch late night talk shows.
You okay, I in my social media feed I just posted his YouTube 2021, recap. Oh my God, the guy is good.
Okay, I'll go watch it after.
yeah. So some people, I guess, know about him in the comments. Yeah. The Elizabeth Holmes was the joke. So people are like, "What? That was a joke." Not for creative people. The one other person I would say, just because is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You know, the who
Yeah,
does
yeah,
he is.
yeah.
I mean, Hamilton, and then In the Heights, and then the stuff that he's done, even in which even connects back to the podcast to Peg. Now I can't think of it. The musical.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because he helped. He was in that because he was the driver. Was in the ice cream, whatever.
Tick Tick Boom. If you guys haven't watched Tick Tick Boom, is fantastic. Lynn directed it, but it was by Jonathan Larson, who wrote Rent, who
Yeah,
inspired Lin Manuel
yeah,
Miranda.
and he's also he
What
So
is
did the
Tick
Jonathan
Tick
Larson
Boom?
is somebody for me. Jonathan Larson was like revolutionary in Broadway. He just did his own thing. I do
Mm,
love people who push the boundaries on their art, like Nicole Payman, who we had
yes.
last week on the podcast doing contemporary opera. Who even knew that was a thing? I mean, that's
yeah.
amazing.
That's really
So,
cool. So we have all sorts of cool
mhm.
people. So make sure you go to remarkablepeople.com and check all of them out.
Yes.
The
The
other
best podcast in the world, I've heard.
it is. It's very well edited too. The
Except for those little lapses between words when they're too long.
oh, this next one's great, man. It's awesome.
You just started when you laughed, Guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Huh?
Now we're getting in the deep laughs.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Madison might be watching. We don't want to make fun of her.
no, she's
I was making fun of her. I was making fun of you.
yeah.
I thought that was clear.
So this next question, because this goes back to the podcast, this week's podcast with Julia Cameron on again, is that do you have a morning routine? Because she talks about that, and you
Yeah.
actually had to go back and explain because her morning routine has this thing called morning pages, and I know Peg does that as well. So do you have a morning routine? And the funny thing is the another episode with BJ Fogg is coming up, and there's even more stuff about morning routine. So and Guy's got some interesting ones that he does now. They talk about
TMI.
that one. But do you have a morning routine? Is there something you do every morning? And then we'll let Peg explain what morning pages are for people who don't know what that is. So
Yeah, that helps
Go.
with your
Go, Peg.
creativity. Julia Cameron's morning pages, basically before you do anything else, before you pick up your phone, before you check your email, Instagram, anything else, you can get coffee, she says, if you're a coffee
I have
person.
to have that.
And then you write 3 pages You don't ever, no one's ever going to see it. It's just free form thoughts. You can make lists, you can like anything. There's no guidelines or anything for it other than you just sit down and you write. Stream of consciousness, it just lets you get out your ideas. It helps you, like if something's bothering you, sometimes you might like write about something, or sometimes it differs every day. Sometimes I like look out my window and I write what, I start out with like what the weather looks like or something, just to get the thoughts flowing or get writing flowing. But it basically just helps, like, it's kind of like sweeping the dust out of your brain a little bit
Mhm.
and just getting your creative brain working. So that's what Julia recommends that you start with. And it really does help every day with just starting with like a clean slate of ideas and thoughts. And then you could go into whatever projects you need to get into from there.
Yeah.
I want people to know that you could look this as incredibly daring or total stupidity and faux pas, but I tried to get a copy of any of Julia Cameron's morning pages to publicize, but then I was pushed back by said it's supposed to be completely private, so we can't get any of her samples. But I
I knew
tried.
that was gonna be the answer. When you sent the email, I was like, that's going to be a no.
I
Because she
tried.
said, you know
Well,
what?
it
It's
would have
very
been,
close to being a journal, though. And if you
yeah.
write things, and I always have a problem with a journal because I don't want to write something that someone would read later. Like,
Mm.
say you die and someone reads your journal and you were like mad at one of your kids for something, and then they read that and they're like, "That's what my mom thought." Like, I never want them to have that experience, so I never
Yeah,
write
but
those things.
So
but
I use it.
arguably you're dead, so what's it matter?
That's right. You don't
Yeah,
want to
you're
mess them
dead,
up.
but that's what they're gonna remember, that you wrote, "What a little brat," or like whatever. I mean, I've never done it, so I'm just saying, like, if you were mad
Uh,
at someone and you wrote it. I'll give you an example. Rich's grandma wrote years worth of journals, and now
yeah.
people look at them and they're like, "What?" There's like a lot of family secrets and stuff in there,
Oh,
and
like
thought
what?
about. So,
So
um,
my wife
do you want?
journals.
You didn't tell people why you were alive. Do you want them to know that later?
My wife has told me, because she journals every day since, I mean, we've been married 25 plus years, and she's got a stack of notebooks. I mean, they're in storage. She
Yeah.
writes every day, and she told me to burn them. If my shit goes first, she goes, "Don't even look, just burn them." I'm like, okay. So,
See, that's the thing. Like, she's probably written stuff in
oh
there,
yeah,
you
totally
know.
about me. Yeah, he's a jerk. Yeah, what did I do? This was a
Or
mistake.
Dave, I can't even see his face anymore.
Yeah. So I use I have an app I use called Day One. It's a journaling app, and it has, so no one can get it. They don't have my thumbprint, and then it's password protected. So I feel pretty
God,
shitty.
my journal would be so boring. Wake up, take Nate to school, edit podcast, go surfing, eat, sleep. I mean,
But if you're writing 3 pages, so you would write that, and that would take 4 lines up, and then you'd be like, "Now what am I gonna write about? Okay, well, maybe
exactly.
I'll talk about what the ocean was like," but you have to keep going. That's the thing.
Three pages is a lot.
It is a
You
lot,
write
and you have
three
to
pages.
handwrite
It's
it,
longhand,
handwritten.
yeah.
Yep,
Oh, 3 pages is a lot of writing.
yep.
Is it single line or double line? I mean, this is
It's single line.
So Ben, over
wow.
on YouTube, because we were talking about do you
Journal
have a
size,
morning
so
routine?
it's not 8.5 by 11. It's like I use a smaller, like a
Uh,
moleskin kind of deal.
Yeah. So Ben says this over on YouTube. He goes, I recently began starting my day with taking a shower and then spending 20 minutes in prayer, having regular dedicated time to ground myself. Like, this has revolutionized my life. And in fact, in this podcast episodes, Julia and Guy talk a lot about the connection between spirituality and creativity. And this was, I mean, Ben, we'd love to know what you think about that. If you have not listened to that, make sure you
Yeah.
go to and do that, because they do talk a lot about that and talk about prayer. There's some really great some
If
discussion in there.
if you're a fan of praying, you will love this episode.
Mhm.
I think every
And
writer who's ever had writer's block has prayed.
Ah,
Yeah.
Good idea. And there is something to that, right? Because you're like trying to look, you're trying to look for inspiration, divine
Right.
inspiration, really.
yeah.
So, Guy, I know we'll tease it, but Guy gets very, very transparent in next week's episode on his morning routine. But do you have anything you want to share about, other than I mean, do you have a morning routine other than the boring one that you just mentioned? Do you have like set one, like I have a peanut butter and banana sandwich every morning at 5? I mean, what?
Well, I don't know what morning routine you're alluding to that is be so interesting because I mean,
I think you're talking about guys' nighttime routine where you take
No,
the time.
okay. Now
no,
my nighttime routine is more interesting. Okay, and
But
this
that's next
nighttime
week.
routine. Oh,
Next
okay.
week, right?
Well, it started with Catherine Price, and
Yeah.
then talking to BJ Fogg, he put an even better spin on it. So
Mm.
now, and I do it. I do it every night now, every night.
It's interesting because when I read the book, I added something to my morning routine, which was that
Yeah,
when you get out of bed and put your feet down, you say, "This is going to be a great day," and
yeah.
don't, no, we got to save stuff for next week. Come on.
So going back to morning pages, I would love to know
Yeah.
if anybody that listens to the show or watches our live show, did anybody pick that habit up after our last time when Julia Cameron was on, or did you read The Artist's Way and do that? Because it really is a great part of writing is just like being consistent. Not that I can say I write every day or that I'm, a novelist or anything, but you have to be consistent with it if you're somebody who wants to do it. If you just, it's like part of it's butt and chair, right? You just got to have the time and be
every
like there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Every morning when my feet hit the floor, I say, I hope that Peg and Jeff have a great day. Because
I don't know if that's going to help you have a great day, though. Is it supposed to be for
well, if you
you?
guys have great days and you're working on a podcast,
That's
I'm going to
true.
have a great day.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, my life is very simple. I like things to go into Trello. I like things to be on time. That's all I ask. That's
That's
all I
right.
want. I'm only kidding. But we actually are, I think, as a team, we're getting stuff done. So
Yeah, we're
amen to
ahead.
that.
So
Mhm.
next question is, okay, we've talked about, morning routines, morning pages. So, and there's a lot of talk also in this podcast about the pandemic. Like, does it help? Do you think it helped or hindered creativity? Because she thinks things have had to change, and Julia brought this
Mhm.
up in some ways. And guys has a barn, and he's out there looking at deer, trying to lick, and is. I mean, but some people, have been stuck inside so much. Do you
Yeah.
think it's helped or hindered people's creativity? Julia said it changes, and it didn't really. She thinks it. She was like a glass half full kind of person. Like, it just, you have to change your routine and see things around you instead of going out. So, what
Right.
do you think? Do you think it's helped generally for the world? Helped or hindered
I
creativity?
think there's people who have done really great things during the pandemic. People that they were like home, they started companies, they wrote books, they did like great art. So the people who dove into their creativity or tried to learn something new, there's so many people. I saw a guy who decided to learn how to do pottery and just like really did a deep dive into it, and his pottery is amazing. So the people that dove into it have done great things. If I was if this was a year ago or a year and a half ago when we were, deep into the crazy world, I was having a hard time, like just having to do the creative pieces. So I would have to do things like, take a break, take a class, like do a class on Skillshare, learn a new skill, like redirect my brain a little bit so I could get back into creativity. Because when the news cycle was really hard and horrible, and it seemed like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, aka there isn't. But we didn't know that a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. Um, we would tell ourselves, okay, as soon as the vaccine comes, like there's all these little deadlines that we would try to reach. But the reality is you have to kind of move yourself past it. And something like morning pages is a tool that you can
Yep.
use, whether you're like going to doodle or do something creative, or you have to find a way to push yourself. So I think the pandemic
You know,
overwhelmed so many people, and all of us it could every day. But if you find a creative outlet, it's actually been I hate to say it's been a great experience, but a lot of ways, people
Right.
have grown if they took the
yeah.
time to try to do something
You
like
know,
learn a guitar or something.
if if it wasn't for the pandemic, I had this idea when we first started this podcast that every interview would be conducted in person. Okay.
Mhm. Yep, I remember.
I don't know how I could have had 110 interviews in person.
Yeah.
And now it's
Well, you would have
completely
traveled.
accepted.
You were traveling at the time, so
Yeah, I know. But I mean, if you look at the people I've had, I mean, I would have to travel a lot to have this, to have the same collection of guests. Oh my Lord, I'd be all over the place. I just, I'm so glad that, the standard is now that you could record audio remotely and put it on a podcast, because in my
yeah.
mind, that wasn't true prior to the pandemic.
I think people did it both ways prior. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been a different experience if you were face to face with all of these people,
Yeah.
but I think that it's a great show even remotely because you still connect with people.
Right.
It's just how
Yeah.
we connect
It's
differently if
harder.
you're
Yeah.
Mhm.
And something that's not hard is being able to go right here, hold up your phone, and you can go right to the podcast. If you're just joining us, you're like, what are they talking about? There is tons of episodes that will help you become more creative just by listening, like this week's episode with Julia Cameron. If you guys go check that out, we would be we really appreciate if you leave a rating and review as well. So
If it's starting to sound like the My Pillow guy.
yeah. No, I don't want to be associated with that. But there are
Okay.
there's tons of great things. And I do think that, one, I think the pandemic caused us, with all the pain and suffering, to be more grateful for what we have. But also,
Mhm.
like you both were saying, that it's caused some innovation and growth with people who, like, I know because the shows that I do and produce, that it's a lot easier now that guests, I don't have to do the big whole tech setup for the most part.
Yeah.
Peg's mic is working now. So, I mean, but most,
That was the big.
but we used to schedule a day,
2022.
yeah, we used to schedule like a day before
Hey,
people
I
coming on.
handle my own tech.
She does really good. But yeah, so I think that there's been
After
some
we
good
send
stuff.
you everything.
Well, I did have a Yeti mic is
It's
a pretty
good.
good mic. I guess I talked it to death.
I used it for
Re-
years.
Real podcasters use XLR mics. I'm sorry.
But I don't actually podcast.
Well, real podcast producers use XLR mics. Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had another example.
USBs for wimps.
I saw this really great example of a creative thing that somebody did that they shared. Oh, I want to say it was in the New York Times. But this guy, his girlfriend really likes to do word games. So he made this really cool program that's a word game, and it's like a whole brand new word game.
Right.
And now he shares it with people, and like 300,000 people do it every day. Like it's just snowballed.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
was just a little like fun thing he made for her. Like so creative and so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah. So another, we talked about morning pages, but also I would want to know about how you guys think about what you do when you hit a creative roadblock.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned it before, Peg. Like sometimes your prayer works good. Like I need the next thing. But what are some things that you do? Morning pages help clear out the cobwebs in the morning. But like
Yeah.
when you hit a creative roadblock, do you listen to music? We've talked before about Guy he gets get a lot of ideas when he drives really fast with a stick shift in a German
In a
car.
German car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
See, I
very
got it down.
specific.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But what do you do when you hit a creative roadblock? What are some steps you take?
You think buying a Porsche could be a business expense now, because that's where I do my creative thinking?
Yep.
I think so. We've mentioned it enough times.
There's an IRS auditor out there right now looking up my records.
Yeah. Is that a business expense?
Yeah.
I sometimes just getting more organized when I'm at the part where if I'm at a creative block, I'll work on the organization piece, like, just the things that have to be done. And then that kind of helps, just getting, if I make a schedule or make a plan or, just break down the pieces that need to be done, like an outline for something. If I'm writing something, sometimes like an outline or a list can help you fill it in later.
Yeah. Lester over here says he takes a plunge in a cold lake. Oh my gosh, that is.
Wow.
I don't even like getting in the shower and it's cold, but they say it actually does help with depression and a bunch of other stuff. So very interesting.
I when I get a creative roadblock, I add lights to behind me in this scene here.
Does that help
Guy
you?
with all the insights today.
Every light you see there represents a roadblock I faced in my
Oh,
life.
very deep. 1,000 points of light.
You can tell my plants.
Oh,
You can see I have plants. The ones on the sides are fake, but the one up there, I have a lot of plants in my office. Sometimes I actually will mist my plants, take care of my
Oh.
plants, but
Here,
I
I'm
also
gonna go
was,
get my plant.
oh. See what you've done.
I know.
So
But
I think for me, while he's gone, I will go for a walk. And there's more and more research saying that walking really does help to create a
it
process.
does.
Back in the day, what they say is I'm going on a constitutional or whatever, where they would go and go for
Yeah,
a walk after dinner.
yeah.
Um,
There's lots of famous writers that have
yeah.
used walking, and I used to do that at this job I had that was really challenging. We would take a break, and like two other property managers, we would like take a walk and just like vent, go over the problems. It
Walking
does help
meeting.
you problem solve. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice. Walking is nice.
Didn't Jobs do that a lot? He can't hear me, can he?
Nope.
Okay. We'll just keep. So can you hear us now? Show off your plant. Oh, it's
There.
hidden. It's hidden behind
Turn
you.
Oh, can you see it?
Yeah, there it's
Yeah. Now
orchid
you
coming
can.
Oh,
out
but
of your
it's
head.
too high, huh?
It's all
You
right.
can't
So-
see the flower. It's an orchid,
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
we were talking about creative roadblocks, how to get away, and mentioned walking. Didn't Steve Jobs do a lot of walking meetings?
Well, yeah, he would go for walks around the building. But let me tell you something. When Steve Jobs says, "Let's go for a walk," I would not view that as good news.
Yeah, I would be scared. I would be like,
It's like,
I'm gonna get fired
what
now.
what's that movie? It's not. Is it? It's not Dead Man Walking. What the Shawshank Connect? I mean, there was some
Shawshank
movie
Redemption.
where,
Yeah,
when you go for a walk, it's a bad thing.
yeah, the long walk.
You
Shawshank
got to be
Redemption is-
careful whether you're walking on a pier or you're walking on a bridge, man.
You don't want to like have a cinder block tied to your leg. Let's
No.
see. Ben says he imposes a constraint into the process. It forces you to see what you're doing from a different angle. Very interesting, Ben. Yeah. So I don't know.
Sometimes talking to somebody too can help boost your, like, if you have an idea, you could bounce it off of someone and say, "Hey, I was thinking of, doing blah blah blah," and then the conversation can sometimes spur ideas too.
And I think
Yep.
thinking about it right before you go to bed and then going to sleep, because something about that subconscious that at least I've seen that it works, and then you're like, you wake up with an idea or something. So
And then
Of course, you
should
can't
put
write
in
it
your
down
morning
'cause-
pages.
yeah, well, you can't write it down because you don't have your phone next to you because Guy has moved it to the
That's
bathroom.
right. That's right.
So
Great writers will always keep notepads near them though, so they can write down any idea. That's another thing, is any idea that you have, write it down, because you always think you're going to remember it and you never do. Never. Like, I've had these great ideas and not written it down, and then later be like, what? And sometimes I found, like, I just cleaned my office out. I find notepads with really great ideas I totally forgot. I was like, yeah, that's a good one.
Well, so-
you forget you wrote
because
it.
I had the same issue, but there's a new program that I love called Rome Research, which
Mhm.
you do that and it's all cross indexed, just like Notion. I know a lot of people use Notion, but Rome Research is on my phone. It's on a
Wait, is it
desktop.
ROME, ROAM, or ROLM?
Rome, ROAM Research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's real, and everything's cross indexed. So if you have ideas, it's amazing, and it's really, really cool. So let's see. Brett says, I walk to get my creative flow going. He's over on LinkedIn. Living on a mountain with trails makes it a big difference. So yeah, I think your environment does make a big difference when you need to get out and get away and get that creative roadblock gone. The last question we have, because we've kind of talked around it a little bit, but in the podcast, Julia mentions the artist date. So have you taken an artist date? And Guy, explain what that is.
Explain what it is.
Yeah.
An artist date is where you have some kind of, not necessarily big deal thing, but a thing where you kind of treat yourself to a little date. And I think for Julia, her artist date was going to the bookstore and playing with a dog or a rabbit or something like that. Right, Peg?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my artist date is driving a German car with a stick shift. I haven't been on a date for years.
Do you ever just go to the beach and walk?
No. If
You
I'm
just go
on the beach,
surf,
I'm
you surf
surfing.
and you leave. That's it.
That's it.
You and Beth never just go take a walk at sunset on the beach?
Well, she is such an avid hiker. Her idea of a short walk is 10-mile hike. I mean, yeah,
Does
it
she
would be
ever walk
like
on the beach? Or is she always hiking the mountain kind of?
she is a power hiker walker. I mean, it is you'd never see me again if I went on one of her.
Well, good for
That's
her.
funny.
That's amazing.
So what about you, Peg? Do you ever go on artist dates?
I wish I did. I mean, I would say probably we walk our dogs every day. Rich does it in the morning, and I haven't been going on the morning ones, but in the afternoons we walk the dogs, and that's nice because we walk. If you're listening, not on the golf course, but definitely on the golf course, because it's nice. It's like right behind our house, and it's like woods. And Rich saw two foxes this morning, so we're gonna have baby foxes in the spring again, I guess.
Hmm.
So it's nice just to get out. And then when you're walking like the same time every day, you see, sunsets and what the trees look like in different seasons. So it's nice just to get out and have a little time. I definitely, during the pandemic, so I don't go that many places still, even, I'll go out a little bit, but now, I don't know if does going to Target count as an artist date if I
It
go?
can, if you like it. I think if you enjoy stuff, it does. So
I
I walk.
do.
I try to walk 2 miles every day, and I think that's my
Wow.
like daily thing. But I think for me is like I love road trips. Like if I can drive it in 2 days, I would rather do that than fly because I mean there's
What
nothing
kind of
I don't.
car?
I have a Jeep. I love my Jeep. I love my little Jeep. I love driving around because I can take off the doors and the top, and it's like a safe motorcycle. Um,
Well, what happens with the shotgun when you take the doors and the top off?
you just put it right behind. I have a scabbard that I have that I can just whip it
Oh,
out
okay,
really
okay.
quick.
I'm
And
just checking.
yeah,
I'm just
Texas,
checking.
you have to have that.
Jeff is
That's
really
why
from
I asked.
Kansas originally, so
What did you say?
I said you're from Kansas originally,
Yeah,
so
so we shot
You
things there
are?
too. Yeah,
yeah.
grew up in
Huh.
Kansas.
Yellow
But
brick road.
yeah, yeah, exactly. The land of Oz. Those were actually on our, they spelled it with the A, like ah. It was so cheesy. It was on everybody's license plate. Um, but what was I saying? Oh, I love road trips because I think it's because I don't have screens. It forces me not
Right.
to have screens, and I can listen to podcasts. And to
Mhm.
me, that is super like recharging. I love it. I love the drives.
Yeah.
So that's I think what I like.
I like to go antiquing because there's like a little drive involved, and then you look at cool stuff, and I always
I
like,
like
what is
antiquing.
it? Yeah, it's fun. That's a thing we like to
Yeah.
do.
Every
Um,
time I go antiquing with my wife, though, I am literally the only man in the whole place. So,
really? Rich goes with
yeah,
me. There's usually guys around.
I don't know.
It's nice though. That's like fun, and you see like cool things, and
Yeah.
it's pretty relaxing. It's not like a hustle and bustle of a Target.
Yeah.
It's quieter and
Right.
Well, I got a whole barn to fill. So,
Yeah. So I guess I don't know if this is so. Dave says he's reading Wise Guy. Maybe that's his artist way
yeah,
reading. So
there you go.
yeah. So anyway, do not forget to go listen to this and leave us a rating and review at remarkablepeople.com because this is a shorter one. That if you haven't listened to a podcast or the Remarkable People podcast, it's a great one to get your feet wet with. If you come across us on socials right now, seeing the live show, this is a great one to dive in because there's such an amazing back catalog that you could just scroll down the list. There's people that you may have not heard of before that are really, really super interesting, and some that you may have, like Jane Goodall, which is always awesome. So make sure you guys go check that out, remarkablepeople.com. Leave us a rating and review. That would be awesome. And we always would love to hear who you would like to hear on the podcast and why they're remarkable. And you can join our community over at this Remarkable People Circle at bit.ly/Remarkable People Circle. So we'd love to see you in there. Let us know what you think about the most current episode and ones from the past and ones you might like to see in the future. We'd love to see you over there as well. So, final thoughts? Anybody? Everyone?
Well, we should all wish everybody a great 2022. This is the
Oh yeah, this
first
is the first
podcast,
one. Yeah.
right? So happy New Year and have a great 2022. May all your fantasies and ideas and creativity come true this year.
That's right.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe if you work really hard, Guy will get up in the morning, put his feet on the ground, and say, "I hope they have a great day." So.
We should do that. I listen to Wait, Don't Tell Me, right? And they do this contest. And then if the celebrity answers right for you, then they do a voice. You can pick anybody on Wait, Don't Tell Me to do your voicemail recording message, right?
Mhm.
So we could do an equivalent where, I don't know, somehow you got to win something or earn it. And then one of the three of us can record for them saying, you know, I hope that Joe Blow has a great day. That'll be the prize.
Look at them all lining
What
up
do you
for it.
Yeah. Our lines are lighting up.
So, but I do, this is a great, before we wrap things up, I do want to bring up this comment from Ben. He goes, I am very thankful for y'all's choices of topics and that you're not afraid to tackle very personal subjects. I really appreciate these regular times to connect with you. Ben, thank
Yeah.
you. You make it worth it. So we appreciate you for watching and sharing this out.
All righty.
And with that, we'll see you guys next week with BJ Fogg. Isn't he? Yeah. I don't know.
That's right.
We're working ahead, so it's so much fun. So
No, it's Dave Evans next.
Dave Evans next week.
Oh, right. It's Dave Evans. Oh, God. Oh, you're going to hear some Apple stories you never heard before, because I heard some Apple stories I never heard before. So if I didn't hear it, you probably didn't hear it.
That's right.
Yeah, Dave Evans.
Dave Evans. So check that out at remarkablepeople.com. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.